Okay, so next up on the County Top Challenge was to Loughcrew in the Royal County of Meath. And again, handy for the lazy bastard in me, this county top, like the Westmeath one, is also quite small, just 276 metres high, the second lowest in Ireland, and easily doable, no compass or hiking boots needed. Once again, thanks to Murray Nolan's excellent blog, with all the needed info on this and all the other county top peaks, see link in the description box below. Loughcrew is near the town of Oldcastle, which I have visited before, and I did a mini pub crawl. It's a very nice little town, and the pubs were well good, especially the Dublin Bar and Own Trainers. Only got the one bad point in the Fox's Den, served by a lad with no socks. I mean, come on, standards, please. Just like in Westmeath with Mullaghmeen, getting to Loughcrew, one will also need to go through a small amount of minor roads, bends, and hitting the odd pothole. But you arrive at a car park with a gate and access up a good few steps to the start of the trail to the cairns. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to reach the absolute top from the car park. Not a difficult climb, and it's well laid out for large groups to walk up and around. Plenty of space. And like in Westmeath, I was accompanied on this trip by Bartle D'Arcy, local historian and all-round expert on ancient Irish history. Actually, all Irish history, modern and contemporary as well. Bartle shared with me the history of the cairns and what it all meant. And it's really quite amazing when you think about it, that the cairns and dolmens and passage tombs are 5,500 years old. 5,500 years old. It's mind-bending. And people think they were just savages back then. There's a link to Bartle's info in the description box below, but here's a sneak preview.
This is known as locally as the Hag's Chair, because this is Slieve na Cally, the hill of the witch, the hill of the Cailleach. So it's an orthostand stone facing due north with horns on it, and the more interesting thing is if you get up close to it, you can see that it has a secondary use here. During penal times, this is a mass rock, so you can see the cross carved into it here, and you can see where baptisms took place here, where you made the little font here and filled it with holy water. Now, this is the last place you would look for a priest when you're hunting a priest, is up on the pagan hill here on the mass rock, and you're hiding here in plain sight because you have your lookouts all the way around the hill. So if you see somebody, the British troops are coming in their red coats, you can see them in distance. So it means you can escape as the priest, because all the priests, there were priest hunters at the time, and they got paid for a priest's head. So a lot of the old Normans were here. They were still Catholic, and they would have a priest hole in their house that you would hide the priest who would come to say mass there. So lots of mass rocks in this area. Down at Lough Lane, at the holy place where Fenton did a miracle, there's a mass rock here too. But here's the last place you expect to find it, and this hill is also associated with St. Oliver Plunkett, because he grew up in this area. He would have been up here too.
So what lies at the top of Loughcrew? Well, there's plenty of cairns and Meath's highest peak, and the views are fantastic. Hills can be seen in all directions. In fact, you can see 9 or even 10 counties, including Meath, on a clear day, which shows how central Loughcrew is in Ireland. But unfortunately, when we visited in mid-January, the weather was atrocious. Well, it was when we were at the very top. At ground level, it was half decent, but boy, once we started climbing, the wind was blowing crazy. And by the time we were at the top, it felt like a mini tornado. Added to that was the heavy fog and mist all around, so we couldn't actually see much out into the distance. But that wasn't really an issue, as there's so much to see around the hill and on the hill. There are cairns, the passage tomb, the standing stones, etc. The walk to the peak itself was easy enough, although it was very windy at the top. The pathway is quite clear, and there's a lot of room, so there's no rocks or anything to worry about. It's like a rolling hill. But I was here a few years ago on a lovely summer's day, and on a good day the views are stunning, so perhaps the best time to do this is in summertime. There's also Loughcrew Gardens and a estate nearby, which are open to the public during the tour season, and very much something to include if visiting the cairns. I visited with my kid and his cousins. It was a great day out walking around the gardens and grounds of the estate, plus a lovely family-sized meal, bangers and chips in the coffee shop. Brilliant. Well worth it and all good value too. Can also add to the day with a short trip to Old Castle Church to see some of the remains of the martyred Saint Oliver Plunkett, whose family history is steeped in the area. Old Castle, of course, is the home of the dancing priest. No, not that priest. Nah. Yes, that clown. So overall, 2 down on the countertop challenge. I loved Loughcrew, Ireland's in past, a lovely walk to the hilltop, and once again, a great way to get in tune with the geography and history of my country.